For this card, I used the Altenew Persian motifs, and the technique is pencil coloring. I stamped the flowers from the stamp set on a craft cardstock with Versamark, and then I heat embossed it with some white embossing powder. I just arranged few flowers and leaves randomly so as to give it a continuous look, and it was super easy. This stamp set is amazing because it has some beautiful flowers and tiny little leaves which can be arranged in n number of ways. I used the embossing powder, which was a very fine powder, and here in this card I totally forgot using my powder tool, which is essential if you do heat embossing, and especially the white and black ones look pretty bad if we don't use a powder tool to enhance the finishing of the embossing. That is why in this case I had the powder stuck here and there, and I had to take a lot of effort by using a tiny brush to remove the powder where I didn't want it to be present. I somehow rescued this card piece, but I recommend that you always use a powder tool before you emboss. Once the embossing was cold, I started coloring in with my pencil colors, and this is a very pastel dull card, I would say, because the choices I made in the colors were looking quite soft on the craft cardstock. I feel if I would have used a white one, these shades would have really popped up, but it was a beautiful and a different kind of a result at the end. I used my water brush to take off the color from the pencil, and I kept the consistency quite thin. The paper was drying quickly, and the shades which were coming up on the craft card were extremely pastel. So I colored the entire panel with a few shades of pink and green, and you can see it here. This card was a quick one to make, and I was just not bothered or careful about coloring it at the right places, because once this first layer of color was dry, I decided that I need to use some distress markers to add on my highlights and to give more definition to the flowers. This is an easy method, and I used a beautiful and the new distress ink color called Abundant Coral, and I started adding few drops of that color at the petals, and was surprised to see the results. The images started having some more life, and the impression totally changed. It's a new technique because I am blending a pencil color with a distress marker here, and sometimes experiments like this give you a new idea. The look of the flowers totally changed by adding this distress marker, and I just dried the entire panel with my heated tool, and we were ready to add the greens. Peeled paint is my favorite green shade in the world, and I had to add this in the leaves, and that really made a huge impact on the card and made it look more pretty. To finish off my card, I added a little strip of paper under the craft cardstock and added a sentiment which also was embossed with the same embossing powder in white. And that's all. This is the final look of the card, and I hope you liked this technique and will give it a try. Thanks for watching. See you soon.